we're starting Mitzvah Shem today, Halacha Hey. You want to turn the screen over a second, take a look, and make nice faces at the camera. All the way. There you go. Hi. We're looking at Halacha Hey. And it also says like this, Inyan mitzvahs tefilin shel yad v'shel rosh, וצריכים להיות אור בהמה טהור דייקו. This issue of mitzvahs tefillin, or tefillin shel yad v'shel rosh, and the fact that it has to be dafka made from the skin of a pure animal, l'chosvan al klaf, and to write it on parchment, v'yan ha'retzuros v'ma'abarta, and what is the principle and the secret behind the straps and the passageway on the edge of the Tefilin, ושם פרטיהם הקדושים והנוראים מאוד, and the other details, incredibly holy and awesome details, and Tefilin דרש and Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam, and the union of Tefilin Rash and Tefilin Rabbeinu Tam. And this particular halacha is based on Sipurei HaMaasiyot, a part of Sipurei HaMaasiyos, actually part of one story. The story is the story of the 7 beggars. The story of 7 beggars is actually a conglomeration of many different stories. And what we will do is we will go over the Sipurei HaMaasiyot, the part that is pertinent for the halacha. It's in the beginning. Actually, it covers 2 stories. What is negea here is actually what is negea to Ilchas Tefilin Halacha Hey is really the second story. But since the Noson mentions the first one as well, we'll go over it as well. It is not long, and this is what it says.
Because when Rabbi Nathan says something from the Halahos, it's always like the Meikar Adin sack, or he goes a little deeper.
What are you talking about?
Like when he says, for example, in the beginning of the Halahos, he talks about how one shouldn't even drink water, for example, right? I think that like the Shulchan Aruch allows you to drink at least water, right?
You should not paskin halachas according to.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is his point of view a little bit more than Meikar Din, or?
Bevadai. Rabbeinu said that he didn't drink water even before. So Rabbeinu for himself. You have to know who you are. You have to realize who you are, and it's everything that Nosson says here is an ideal that you should need to go to. Unless he says, listen, this is what you need to do from Lechatchila. It starts, Asaper lachem ech hayu smechem, I will tell you how they were happy. This is how, in the Sichas, Nosson writes a little bit differently. And he says that he was by the Rebbe, and before the Rebbe started saying this Maisa, the Rebbe actually said, Asaper lachem ech hayu smechem mitoch ma'ash chayra. I will tell you how they were happy from the midst of depression. But that's one of the most important lessons of being a Bresla Chassid, and being close to the tzaddik in any way, shape, or form. The tzaddik does not take away the depression. It does not take away the difficulties that you face in your life. The tzaddik teaches you how to be besimcha mitoch depression. As we said in the last halacha, that is based on Torah Hey, the world was created for you. Definitely you were created for you. The way you are, the things you can do, the things you cannot do, the things you couldn't do to save your life, the things you can manage your way out of your hat, any way, shape, or form. It was created for the role that you have to fulfill in life. So אספר לכם איך היו שמחים, this whole Maisus Rabbeinu is how to be happy מתוך מרש שחור, how to find your way from the middle of the sea. Ma'aseh פעם אחת היה מלך. Once there was a king. I don't know which way to move to be like in the middle. Okay, now. This is Hollywood.
Right is left.
It's okay. Yeah, I know. It's like, whoa, man, what's going on? Yeah, I'm so confused.
It's a remnants of the world of Sheker.
Yes, that's right. What left is right. Ma'aseh פעם אחת היה מלך. Once there was a king, והיה לו בן יוחד, and he had a single son. ורצה מלך למסור המלוכה לבנו בחייו, and the king wanted to give over the melucha to his son while he, the king, was still alive. ועשה משתה גדול, and he made a big banquet. שקוראים בל, we call it ball, making a ball. בוודאי בכל פעם שהמלך עושה בל, every time that the king is holding a banquet, הוא שמחה גדולה מאוד, it's a great שמחה. בפרט עתו, especially now, שמוסר המלוכו לבנו בחייו, when he gave, the kingdom to his son while he was still alive. בוודאי השמחה גדולה מאוד, בוודאי there was great שמחה. היו שם כל שרי המלוכו, and there were there all the ministers of the kingdom, וכל הדוכוסים והסורים, all the dukes and all the ministers, היו שמחים מאוד, and they were very happy. היה לה משתה, on the banquet. וגם המדינה היו נהנים מזה, and also this, the Medina, the people of the Medina had great enjoyment from that. שמוסר המלוכה לבנו בחייו, he's giving the kingdom to his son while he's still alive. כי הוא כובד גדול למלך, it's a great honor to the king, and it's a great thing because it allows for continuity, Usually, you get used to a melech and the way he is, especially if it's a good melech. You get used to it, you get used to your life, and suddenly, the king dies and his son becomes king, and you don't know what's going to be now and how things are going to be, the new regime and everything else. But when the king is giving the melucha to his son while he's still alive, that assures you of continuity. The old king is still here. He's going to be a mitigating influence on his son. When the son is going to run into trouble, he's going to go to his father, because usually the problem with the king is the king doesn't have who to ask an eitzet from, right? The buck stops with him. But if his father, the king, is still alive, then he can go back to him and says, "What would you do in such a situation?" It's great. It's nice.
Like a rabbi emeritus.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you can say that. והיה שם שמחה גדולה מאוד, and there was a great simcha there, there was a great happiness there. היה שם כל מיני שמחה, all kinds of happiness, the kapel yesh, choirs, they were singing, the comedies, there was like theater, כל מיני שמחה, and all kinds of simcha was there. הכל היה שם על המשתה, everything was there on the ball. וכשנעשו שמחים מאוד, and when everybody was exceedingly happy, that was like the midnight hour, everybody was like, yeah, man, that's all right. עמד המלך ואמר לבנו, the king stood and told his son, since I am an astrologer, I see in the stars, I see that you will eventually, will have to abdicate the throne. You'll lose the kingdom. You should be very careful not to be sad when you step down from the throne. But you have to remain glad and happy. And if it so should happen that you will be happy, I shall also be happy. Even if you will be sad, even so, I will still be happy. Why? I'll be happy that you're not a king anymore. Why? Because you're not fit to be a king. why you're not fit to be a king. Because you cannot keep yourself happy when you're losing the kingdom. But when you will remain, when you will remain b'simcha, if you will keep yourself b'simcha, even when you lose it, I will be in tremendous simcha. Obviously, there's the basic questions that come over here is, why does he tell him in the middle of the ball? Couldn't he wait until tomorrow? Anash always bring up this nakuda. Why ruin everything? Why be a party pooper? Why just ruin the fun for everyone? Wait until the morning. Just tell them inside, middle of the simcha, in front of everybody, and the peak of the simcha, the peak of happiness, listen, time out. You're going to lose it all. And if you're going to be sorry that you lose it all,
I'll be happy.
I'll be happy because you don't deserve it. Whoa, what's going on here? The answer, the first lesson this teaches us, obviously, in all the Sipurim Maisis, it doesn't matter whether it is Pshatim that I say or other people say in Breslev, or even Reb Nosson says, none of us know the extent or Bechlal what does Maisis mean. We have no idea. We don't have no idea what Rabbeinu meant with any of this. The only thing that we can do, and which Rabbeinu told us to do, is to find remazim, to find hints and lessons that we can learn in these things according to our Madrega. So this is the basis for all the theories and philosophies and whatever it is that we bring to we all talk about this. And one of the things that we learn from this is what Rabbeinu is telling us is the same principle as, let me tell you how they were happy in the midst of depression. See, the thing is that the fact that the Ben Melech, the new king, is going to lose the kingdom is not a happenstance. It's not a disaster that strikes, but it's part of the initial plan. Obviously, we're talking here about an allegory of a man in the world. The king is the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and his son is the Jewish people, Bechlal, and every Jew Befrat, specifically. Being, on top of the hill and being on the bottom are both parts of the blueprint of the final tikkun of what each and every one of us have to go through. And the principle that he's telling us is that you have to be b'simcha. In a few places in Sichas Haran and Likutei Rabbeinu says that the person has to work very hard on making himself b'simcha, keeping himself b'simcha, because life's trials and tribulations, put a person in a very, very hard test. And simcha is not like it's the result of how life is treating me. If life's treating me nice, then I'm b'simcha. If life's treating me badly, then it's like no. Simcha is something that you take upon yourself. You decide: are you going to be simcha or you're not going to be simcha? There are all kind of aids. We spoke about it quite a few times. How you make yourself b'simcha. The ultimate is nekudas statements, the habit of counting the good stuff that you do on a regular basis, especially when you do zbeidus. Basically, is that the plan is that you're going to be on top and you're going to be on the bottom. There are going to be times like that, going to be times like that. Like when Gamliel told his daughter, that when poor people come to your door, treat them nicely. So, in future generations, when your children go begging around doors, they'll treat them nice too. This is Gagal Chazal Ba'ilam. That's the galgal. This is sometimes up, sometimes down. And the prince took the melucha, the authority, with a strong hand. And he made himself, ministers and dukes and generals and armies. This particular prince was very wise. And he loved Chochmah. And there were great Chachamim by his time. Anybody came to him with, with a high-tech startup, with some kind of Dvar Chochmah, by him it was very, very important. And would give them honor and wealth for the Chochmah. Each one according to what he wanted. Anybody wanted money, he would give him money. Anybody wanted honor, he would give him honor. That's why Nobel Prize, there's some money, there's some honor, there's everything. Everything would give for the Chochmah. And since the Chochmah by him was so important, they all took themselves to Chochmah. Everybody made startups. Everybody, was like and the entire Medina were busy with Chochmas. Why? This one wanted money. So you went into Chochmas, into wisdoms, into this, to get money. And this one wanted to be important and he wanted honor. So he did it for that. Because everybody was just busy with being so clever, that's the reason why that in that Medina they forgot how to do war, tactics, strategy of war. Everybody was dealing with Chochmas. Everybody was incredibly wise. Usually, when everybody is incredibly wise, that means that everybody knows what everybody else is doing wrong. If you'll go to a restaurant or a cafe in Tel Aviv and have 30, 40 tables, you have 30 or 40 conversations, how everybody is wrong and everybody is to blame, except the person who's speaking, of course. It's the government's to blame, and it's the municipality it's to blame, and it's the Vaad Bayit it's to blame, and it's the wife that it's to blame, or the husband to blame, or the kids that are to blame. Everybody is blaming everybody. It's a blame game. This is why everybody is everybody's so sophisticated. They forgot how to live life. They forgot how to fight the wars of every day, what to do with their own feelings. It used to be in the olden days that you had the village elders, the old women used to tell the young women how to get a husband, and once they got married, how to have children, what to do, first whatever it is today, they don't have that anymore. It's so sophisticated. You have to watch Oprah to find out how to, to learn these things. That's where they go. They have these 1 minute managers. They have 1 minute experts. Everybody's
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil. Everybody was everybody with his own, and to tell them how on earth they can get along with themselves, and what to do with themselves, and how to live life, Pasha, simple life. Nobody knows it anymore. Everybody realizes that they're missing it. So now there's a new fashion. Now it's called coaching. So at least somebody should show me. Somebody should. And then what is a coach? A coach is somebody. No, it's not guru. Coaching is not guru. Coaching is somebody like me that has a fresh perspective, that has a knowledge of this particular illness, and so he can direct me. He can direct me. This is a shtickle sechel amiti that is finally dawning behind this in of coaching. That you need somebody else's help. That it's not. They forgot. Everybody forgot how to do war. Until everybody, the smallest in this country, in a different country, would have been the greatest chacham. But the wise people in this Medina, the real, men of the spirit, that write novels and poems, they know what's up, right? They were such, profoundly wise. And because of all the chokhmas, Medina. They lost their faith, because faith requires that you put your mind aside, and they also pulled the Ben Melech to their own das. When Ispaker Gamken, he also lost the Emunah. Sha'ar Bnei Medina lo Ispaker, but the rest of the people of the Medina, they did not lose their faith. Because that wisdom that led them astray was very subtle and very profound, very deep. So the simple folks just didn't get it. So they remained outside, so it didn't harm them. But the wise people in Ben Melech, they lost their faith. But Ben Melech and that prince, this prince that he had good in him, because he was born with good. Because Baruch was created, that's what the Yetzer Tov. He had good midas, he had straight midas. Sometimes he would remind himself, what on earth am I? What became of me? How am I living my life? And he would groan and sigh on this, that fell into such confusions, and he's so mistaken. And he would sigh a lot, and he would lament it. But the minute he started using his mind to figure things out again, immediately he took on, sometimes he would remind himself, and then he would, really feel sorry for himself, what happened to him. But then he started using his chokhmah again. Instead of using his emunah, he used his chokhmah again. His analytic powers, Google Analytics, he would use that, and he would fall again. That's the end of this story. The Rebbe does not return to this story until the end of the Massacre from 7 Bethlehems. Amongst Anash, Anshe Shlemenu, it is mekubal that the end of this story is connected to the bettler without legs, which is the last Maisa that the Rabbeinu does not tell. The Rabbeinu says this is the Maisa of the 7 beggars, and as you'll notice here, we will go over them, and we will read just the Maisa of the first bettler. Please be patient with me while I go through this. Thank you in advance. One day there was war, and people ran away in the Medina, Everybody ran away. And while they ran away, they escaped. They went through a certain forest. And a male and a female, they got lost. One male was lost and one female was lost. There were still small children. They were 4 and 5 years old. They didn't have what to eat, and they cried and they shouted because they didn't have what to eat. Lesson number 1: you don't have what to eat, cry and shout. It's so easy when you don't have what to eat, or you don't have how to pay the bills, whatever it is, that you go like, just wilt. You get hysterical, and either you give up or don't give up. Just call Kodesh Baruch Hu, and Kodesh Baruch Hu will help you. בתוך כך בא אצלם בטלר אחד, and while they were calling, a beggar came to them. אחד עם הסוקים שלו, with his sacks, שקוראים תרבס, it's called tarbes in Yiddish, I guess, שנועסה בהם לחם, that he carries bread in it, carries some food in it. התחילו אל הבונס קרב לב, והם כרוכים אחריו, and these children, they start getting close to him and following him. ונשא להם לחם לאכול. And the first thing first, he gave them food to eat. They were hungry, he gave them food to eat. ואוכלו. ושאל אותם, מאיכם באתם לך? Where'd you come here? השיבו לו, איננו יודעים. We don't know. The first thing that the tzaddik asks a person is, what are you doing here? Do you know what you're doing here? Do you know where you are? Do you know where you come from? We don't know. We don't have a clue. Because they were little children. Every person, each and every one of us, is this little child. Then the tzaddik is asking us, do you know where you're coming from? He says, where'd you come from? What are you doing here? We said, we don't know. We don't have a clue. Because we're little children. And he started to walk away from them. They asked him to take them with him. This I don't want that you should go with me. The tzaddik doesn't want you to dump Avodas Hashem on him. He'll be with you. He'll help you. He will, in a sense, put his spirit in you to help you to reach what you need. But you got to do it. You're not, it's like, the Rebbe is the one who lives with Hashem, and I can do whatever it is else that I want to do in life. This is not what it's about. And while this was going on, we know even he's blind. It was a wonderment. Since he's blind, how does he know how to walk? ובאמת, רבינו says, הוא חידש מה שהקשה להם says. And really, it is really חידש that this wonderment, that they were wondering about this. כי היו עדיין בונים קטנים, they were just small children. רק שהיו בונים חכמים והיה פלא אצלם כנראה, because they were very smart, they were very wise children, and it was a pele at them. And this might be a remez, a hint, that this Bericha was in that Medina of the Ben Melech. Once he lost the Melucha, because you see that they are Chachamim, and this is even the smallest person, this Melucha was a big Chacham in other places. So everybody was a Chacham there. So it's a B'derech Efsha. Ubercham, and he blessed them. The blind beggar. Shiu Kemoisa, they should be like him. Shiu Skenim Kemoisa, they should be as old as he is. Vishilam od lechem le'echol ve'alach, and they left him some more food to eat, and went away. V'vino ela abonim ki Hashem Yisborach hishgiach alehem. They understood that Kodesh Baruch Hu had rachamon on them. That he brought them the blind beggar to give them food. And then they finished the bread. Again they started crying and calling for bread. Then it became night and they slept there. In the morning still didn't have what to eat. And they cried and they called, and came another beggar who was deaf. They started talking to him, and he showed him with his hands, he doesn't hear. He gave him bread to eat, and he left them. They wanted him to take them with him, and he refused. And he blessed them also, they should be like him. And got him bread, and he went. Again, the bread finished. They they found a beggar who was stuttering. They started talking to him, but he was stuttering. They didn't know what he was saying. He knew what they were saying, but they didn't know what he was saying because he was stuttering. And again he gave them bread, and he went and left them the same way. And he blessed them, they should be like him, and he left. And then there came a beggar that had a crooked neck. Everything happened the same way. And then came a beggar that was a hunchback. Then came another beggar that had no hands. Then came a beggar without legs. And then they gave him bread and he blessed them, they should be like him. Everything the way it was. The rest of the Maisa, the Rebbe goes and visits every single beggar. What happens is next, the children they go from city to city, they become known amongst all the beggars, and all the beggars decide they're going to make a shidduch between the boy and the girl, should marry one another, they make a chasana, they take food from the suda of the king, they make a hole in the ground, they cover it with garbage and with reeds, all kinds of stuff. Underneath, they make tremendous chasana, there was tremendous simcha. And while they were doing this, the bride and the groom were remembering, how they were in the forest and the chasadim Kadosh Baruch Hu did with them, and they started remembering the different beggars. And while they were longing for those beggars, remember like the blind beggar, remember how we saw him? While they were longing for him, he came. He showed up. And now, each one of the beggars is showing up. And each one of the beggars is telling them, now I gave you a bracha before that you should be like me. But now I'm giving it to you. As a present, you should be like me. And he explains to them what being like him means. And what the gifts really are. And the first beggar is the blind beggar, and the mice of this particular beggar, what he's saying, is the limud upon which Halacha Hey is based on. Even, not it really matters, but even artistically, there's a limited amount of storylines in the world. Basically, all the different books and all the different movies and everything else, there's a limited amount of stories. There's the good guy that becomes the bad guy, or the bad guy that becomes the good guy. There's the poor guy that becomes the rich guy. And there's the rich guy that becomes the poor guy. And there's a story about unrequited love, and there's a story about fulfilled one. There's a story about rag to riches. There's a story about, but there's a limited amount of stories, and basically all the different books and movies, they're telling the stories in a different way. But it's basically the same stories over and over and over again. Sipurei Maisis, one of the has been a tremendous, has had a tremendous hashpah on modern literature, in that it revolutionized. It was a big influence on Franz Kafka, who is the first really modern author, a Jew from Czechoslovakia that came up with. And Sipurei Maisis had tremendous hashpah on him, and all modern literature is based.
Tremendous what?
Hashpah, influence on him, and all modern literature is basically based on Kafka. So that means that modern literature is based on Sipurei Maisis, the Maisa. And so what he's saying is like this. The storylines in the Sipurei Maisis are without any precedent. This is storylines beyond time. They're beyond time and place. They don't follow any known story ever. Sometimes, they remind of different tales that are told in different nations, but they're told differently. And it says like this: while they were under the chuppah and everything, they started remembering all the chasodim Kodesh Baruch Hu did with them in the forest, and they were crying and they were longing. How do we bring over here the first beggar, the blind beggar that brought us bread to the forest? And immediately, while they were missing the blind beggar, immediately he answered, he says, here I am. I came to you for the chasana. I'm giving you a gift for this drasha. She call him drasha geschenk. This is a drasha gift. You should be as old as I am. Before I blessed you, that you should be as old as I am. And now I'm giving you a matana. This is a sure thing that you should be as old as I am, that you should live life as long as mine. And now he starts and explains like this. Do you think that I'm blind? I'm not blind at all. But the entire time of this world, all the time in the world doesn't come up by me, even as an eye blink. That's the reason why people think that he's blind. Because he doesn't even look at the world. He doesn't care who won the NBA title or who lost it. He doesn't care about, all these things, all the happenstance, all of history, doesn't mean anything to him. Because it's shtuyot. Fine. Since the entire time in the world doesn't measure by him, even as an eye blink, that's why it's not shaykhs by him to look in this world and to see it and to look what's going on. And I'm extremely old, and I'm a total baby. I'm a total newborn. I'm extremely old. I'm ancient. At the same time, I'm like a newborn baby. And haven't even started living. And even though that I haven't even started living and I'm such a newborn baby, I'm extremely, extremely old. And I'm not the one, that is giving testimony on this. Actually, I have
a provision?
No, yes, I have an endorsement on this. From the great eagle, the big eagle. And I'll tell you a maisa. This is what the blind beggar is telling them. Once people went in ships on the sea, and there was a storm when it broke the ships, and the people were saved. And they came to a tower. And they went up to the tower. They found there all the food and all the drinks and all the garments that anybody would need. And everything good was there, and all the pleasures in the world, everything was there. And they said that each and every one of them, they started a conversation, they want to shooting the breeze a little bit. They decided, each one is going to tell of his earliest recollection. What do you remember? What he remembers from the time that memory started to register by him. And there were old people, and there were younger people. And they honored the oldest person in the room. He should be the one that will start recounting. ועונה ואומר, מה אספר לכם? What shall I tell you? אני זוכר גם שחתכו את התפוח מן הענף. I remember when they cut the apple from the branch. ולא ידע שום אחד מה הוא אומר, and nobody they understood what on earth he was talking about. היו שם חכמים, but there were some wise people over there, ואמרו, בוודאי זו מעשה ישן מאוד, this is a really, really old tale. כבדו את השני שהספר, and they asked the second one, you know, the one who's a little bit younger, so the old one, younger. שיספר, let him tell. וענה השני שלא יסכים כמו ראשון, and the second one, it wasn't as old as the first one. He says, זו מעשה ישן, this is an old tale, like, question. זו סמייס אני זוכר גם כן, I remember that tale, אבל אני זוכר גם שהיה נר דוילק, but I also remember when the candle was burning. ואנו אמרו שם, זו סמייס ישנה ביועס המרשנה, this is an even older tale than the first one. היה פלא אצלם, was a great wonderment by that, שזה השני, שיונק מהראשון, the second one, that is younger than the first. וזוכר מעשה ישנה, אתה אמר ראשון, he remembers a story that is older than the story that the older one remembered, the older person remembered. And they honored the third one, to tell them. And the third one was even younger. I remember that when the very essence of the fruit started to congeal, started to build up. When the fruit was growing. This is an even older tale. And the fourth one was even younger. I also remember when they were carrying the seed to plant the tree, the fruit. And the fifth one that was even younger. I also remember the wise people when they sat and they invented the seed before it was carried to be planted. I remember the Chacham sitting and figuring out, and the sixth one was even younger. He remembers also I remember the taste of the fruit before it was even put into the fruit. That was before there was even Vana Shvi, and the seventh one, I also remember the smell of the fruit before it came into the fruit.
Each one remember what the other one plus something.
Plus something older. Vana Shmi also remember the vision of how the fruit looks before it was put upon the fruit itself, so the fruit should look like that. Vani and me, the blind beggar told it all. I was a total baby. I was just a baby then. And I was also there. And I said, and it says, I remember all these tales, all these stories, all these things I remember. And I remember nothing. I also remember nothing. This is a tale that is older than all of them put together. It was a big chiddush by them that the baby, the youngest one of them all, remembers something that is older and more ancient than all of them together. And while we were busy doing this, the big eagle, a great eagle, come and dofak al amigdal and knocked on the tower. Va'omer chidlu od miot aniyim, stop being poor. Shuv al ha'itzel shelachem, come back to your own treasures. V'yu mishtamshim ba'itzel shelachem, and come use your treasures. Va'omer lehem she'yitzu min ha'amigdal kedei ziknusam, and he told them, come out of the tower according to your age. Anybody who was older should come out first. And he took everybody out of the tower. והוציא תחילת התינוק, and first he took the baby. כי באמת הוא זוג יותר מכולם, because he's the oldest one of them all, because he remembers, you know. וכן כל מי שהיה יונק יסר הוציא קודם. Anybody who was actually younger, he took out first. He told them he's going to take the older one first, and the mice he did the opposite. The younger ones he took first. והזוקן הגודל, and the great old man, the man who was the oldest, he took out last. כי כל מי שיונק יסר היה זוקן יסר. Anybody who was younger was really older. והזוקן שבהם, and the oldest one was really the youngest of them all. ואמר להם, the great eagle said, אני אפרש לכם מעשה שסיפרו כל הנ"ל. I will explain to you. The great eagle told him, I'll tell you what all these mices mean. כי זה שסיפר שהוא זוכר גם שחתכו את התפוח מן הענף, the one that said that he remembers them cutting the apple from the branch. אני זוכר גם שחתכו את הבור, they remember when they cut the umbilical cord. In other words, that is the mice that happens to him the minute he was born. והשני שם שזוכר בשעה נר דוילק, the one that remembers then the candle was burning. אני זוכר גם שהיה בעיבור, he remembers when he was still an embryo in his mother's womb. שהיה נר דוילק על ראשו, when there was a candle burning on top of his head, and he was seen from the beginning of the world to the next. You know, that's, he learns the entire cool, it's Chazal said. וזה שמה שזוכר גם באש התחיל הריקום הפרי, the one that he remembers when the fruit itself started to formulate, עד שזוכר גם כשהתחיל לסרק עם הגוף, he remembers when the body itself started to formulate. היינו בעצם סבלן, when the fetus was first came into being. וזה שזוכר שהיום הולכים הגאון לנטוע הפרי, that remembers when they were carrying the seed to plant the fruit. And שזוכר גם שמשיכה טיפה בשעת הזיווג, he remembers when the tipa b'moech was, you know, where was drawn during the coming together of the man and his wife. וזוכר את החכמים שמציאים את הפרי, and the one remembers the חכמים inventing the seed, and שזוכר שהטיפה עדיין במוח. He still remembers when the tipa was part of the moich of the person, because the brain is the thing that puts together the tipa.
It seems like there's apparently it's not much physical time passing, but there's a world of difference between one thing and another. Like this guy's so much older, even though a few seconds pass, right?
ושזוכר הטעם, the one remembers the taste. היינו הנפש, that's the נפש, והריח, היינו הרוח, ומערת, this is the נשמה. והתינוק שאומר שזוכר לא כלום, and the baby that said remembers nothing, כי הוא למעלה מן הכל, he is beyond everything, והוא זוכר אפילו משהו קודם בנפש רוח נשמה. He remembers that which is beyond נפש רוח הנשמה, שהוא בחינס עין, which is an aspect of nothing, of beyond isness. ואמר להם, חיזרו לספינה שלכם, go back to your boats, שהם הגופים שלכם שנשברו, which is, these are your bodies that were broken. שיחזרו ויבונו, they will be reconstructed. חיזרו להם, go back to your body. וברכו יסם, and he blessed them all. ולי, in other words, to me, the Beth Berger said that he's talking, אמר לי שגדול, the great eagle told me, אתה בוא עמי, you come with me. כי אתה כמויסי, because you are like me. כי אתה זוקן מאוד, because you're totally old. אתה יונק מאוד, and you're totally young. ועדיין התחלת לחיות כלל, and you haven't even started to live. ואף על פי כן אתה זקן מאוד, and still you're tremendously ancient. וכך גם אני. And this is the way I am. כי אני זוקן, because I'm totally ancient. ועדיין אני יונק, and I'm totally newborn. נמצא שיש לי הסכומה מועצה הנשר הגודל. You see that I have a ascoma from the great eagle, that I'm living a long life. ועתה אני נותן לכם חיים ארוכים שלי. Now I'm giving you my long life as a present to this drasha. נעשה שם שמחו וחדבו גדולו ועצור מאוד מאוד. It became a simcha and tremendous joy, very, very much. Up to here today. With Hashem, we'll continue tomorrow. This is the before you stop it, just say, this is the end of the Maisa upon which the Halacha Hey in Ilches Halacha Hey is based on.